we're planning on getting married. And then right before, like 2 weeks before coming to college, cheated on me. Don't run into the tree and then, well, bam, shoot this thing or I'm going to miss and hit Garrett.
Yeah, I think I met Cody. Cody was probably the first person I met at Chi Alpha, and he was the first one I actually considered my friend.
That's so good, though.
Yeah, Cody was probably the easiest guy to talk with. I think I sat next to him for the first time, and then from there it was just, all right, I like this guy.
Yeah.
And anytime I showed up, I would kind of hover around him because I was terrified of all the other people.
Everyone is so, like, loud.
Everybody, there's a lot of big personalities
The first
within our...
person I met was Jessica, and then the second person I met was Luke.
Okay, yeah.
And I was just like...
I don't know Luke.
Out.
I don't know Luke the best. I'm excited to get to know him better. I think he's going to be a facilitator, right?
He'll be an intern, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, right. So I'm going to get to know him better then. That'll be cool. Yeah. But like Ben, Asher, Jessica especially, they all have very loud, fun... They grab the attention of the room. That's for sure.
Yeah, buddy.
You have a pretty strong personality too.
I did not last year, which was really crazy.
Really?
Yep. I sat back and watched everybody, and Jeremy said that I was convinced I was an introvert. And then this year, I discovered I was an extrovert. But I always knew I was an extrovert. I just didn't know people yet.
Oh, dang. All right. Yeah, cool. Because I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Some Josiah lore. Before I moved down here, there was like 2 years, I think, out of high school, right? Where basically all my friends moved down here. My girlfriend and I broke up. And I worked in my room because of YouTube. So I had no coworkers.
Yeah.
And so I was just extremely lonely for those 2 years, trying to figure all sorts of stuff out. And so I ended up moving down here with the goal of forcing myself to go meet people. And because of my roommate who's brothers with the staff member Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a student, but you guys let me join Chi Alpha.
Exactly.
And since then it's been really fun. It's changed my life. That's for sure.
It's crazy, right?
I don't know. Has Chi Alpha changed your life?
Oh, yeah. I came to college thinking I was going to get married.
Whoa.
In like 3 months.
Whoa. Whoa.
It was crazy, yeah. And like the week before I moved, God was just like, whoo, and flipped my entire world upside down. But I knew God was there, but I wasn't like really a Christian. Yeah. And so I came to college and I was like, well, I got to figure this thing out. And I avoided everyone for like 2 months because I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going through my own crap. I don't want to deal with that. And then I walked past, I would purposefully avoid the Chi Alpha table because they scared me. And they were always like, do you want a Pop-Tart? And I'm like, get away from me.
Oh, gosh.
And so I like passed them and then I turned back around and I was like, if I talk to them, my mom will be happy. And so I walked up and Jessica was like, oh my gosh, hi. And I was like, and then Sarah Young was there and she was like, hi, I'm not as crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Nice.
Hi. And then from there, I got super involved and then I did DE class and then I became a facilitator and here we are.
Are you still going to be a facilitator?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. The DE class was super fun for me.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews from it, from around people who've done it.
Yeah.
How was your experience?
It was good, but we had 32 people in our DE class.
32?
We had 32 people. You guys had like 18,
yeah,
I think.
Much less.
Our cohorts were like 8 or 9 people.
That's wild.
It was insane.
I think we had like 3 tables. My table is the best, of course. We definitely tried to assert dominance in every single way. It was fun.
Wait, who was at your table?
Asher, Sarah Spence, Nathan. What is his last name? Fielder? I don't know.
Tyson?
Tyson? Maybe it's Tyson.
It's Tyson. Because it's spelled
big blonde.
Weird. Yep.
Awesome. Yes, awesome. Hilarious guy. Yeah, super fun. Then it was Diana and me, I think. And Brooklyn. Brooklyn was there too. Yeah. So, as soon as we sit down, it's like, all right, how do we win?
I heard about Anna's table, which was Anna, Ben, Carl.
A lot.
And I was like...
Even more stacked.
And I was like, oh... And Riley. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, the non-Christian things are coming out of their mouths. I know it.
Do you like racist jokes?
Yes.
What's your favorite race?
That's crazy. I don't know. Well, so this is really funny because I just like figured out my heritage, right? And
Really?
Yeah. So for some reason when I was really little, I understood. So my parents would tell me we were Spanish, when then in my brain was like, we speak Spanish, so we're Mexican. And my aunt married my uncle, who was very Mexican. So I was like, we're Mexican. And so for years, I've literally convinced myself I was Mexican. My mom was like, we're Spanish. And I was like, oh, really? And so I had to like go back and rethink that. And so Anna thinks it's okay for her to be racist towards Mexicans because she thinks I'm Mexican. But I'm like, I'm not. You can't do that.
Well, then we can still make fun of Mexicans.
Well, I think the theory or just like the rule is if you're that race, then you totally can.
Yeah, but if none of them are around...
Fair. Also, Aiden Howell
who's going to get offended?
Is half Mexican.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks very white.
He's very white.
He's the whitest guy.
That I know.
He's awesome. Man, so what are you?
I'm Portuguese and German.
Right. And German?
Yeah.
I'm 75% Dutch.
Crazy.
And if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. That's at least what my mom says. She's 100% Dutch. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Do you know any of your ancestors?
Nope.
What about like where your heritage or like either your name and or what your ancestors were up to?
So my last name had to be legally changed. Like we came, whenever it was, they came to America and they were like, that's too Spanish. So whiten it. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like way cooler than Alameda. And I was like, what? Okay. It's dumb.
You don't remember what it was?
I can't remember what it was. My grandpa told me one time and then
I have no idea what my maiden names were, if you will. I know my last name's Lindley, which is English, and I'm only like 5% English. So I got stuck with the English last name.
Yeah.
The Dutch one... What's up, dude? Yeah. The Dutch one was Sevdi, which I think is a really cool name. My grandma, she still has a newspaper where my great-great-grandpa Sevdi, he was out lumberjacking on the East Coast somewhere and got attacked by a bear, and he killed it with his axe.
Insane.
Yeah, so I come from that man. So according to him, I'm a huge disappointment. But it's been fun. It's been fun trying to live up to him. Yeah. Great-grandpa Sevdi. So you love Jesus, right?
I do.
Apparently, a lot of the people I have on this podcast don't actually know Jesus. So I'm excited to talk to somebody who actually knows him.
Yeah.
So who is Jesus?
That's insane. That's really hard to fit in like a small thing.
Yeah, well, don't
the
fit
best
in a small thing then. Yeah,
way
go along.
that I try to explain Jesus, especially to people who aren't believers, it also depends on like what approach they're coming from. But he is God and man all at once, who came down to save all of humanity from ourselves. And so every day I try to replicate him and be like him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be like him?
It means a lot of hard work, and it means dying to yourself daily, hourly, secondly.
Yeah.
Like all of the time, and just putting others before you. And then ultimately it ends up becoming super easy because you're just kind of like doing it. But one thing that I've started saying is I don't want to have to tell people I'm a Christian. I want them to know that from how I love them.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Right. You're supposed to be different than others. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to notice something that's different about you and become curious, if you will, and ask about it. I don't know. Have you ever had moments of sharing the gospel and or the lead up to it?
Yeah.
Like what, like who and what and how did that all go?
So there's one moment that I like really remember, and Maddie and I were having a one-on-one, and we were talking about something, and Aiden had come up, and we were doing the 370, when we were reading the Bible for 3 days straight.
Oh, the 24-hour, no, the 70-something hour.
72-hour Bible read. When we were doing that, Aiden came up and was like, how'd that go? And I got stuck in Leviticus twice because we had lapped, and so we were doing like a victory lap through the Bible, and both times I was stuck in Leviticus, and I was talking about that, and I was like, dude, this sucks. Just because Levitical law for 3 hours is fine. But And this guy came up behind and like started dogging on the Bible almost. And we were able, like, we just kind of sat down and we like talked to him about it. And he ended up started going to Aiden's life group.
Whoa, slow down. Okay, wait a minute. You're just chilling with Aiden somewhere.
Yeah,
where?
in the iSub.
In the iSub.
Maddie and I were having a one-on-one.
Talking about, and Aiden this guy just comes up and starts insulting the Bible?
We were talking about it, and he was like, the Bible's actually a Jewish book. Christians are wrong.
Where'd he come from?
The table behind us.
That's crazy.
It was insane. And I was like, first of all, the ball's on this guy.
Yeah.
Second of all, like, all of a sudden words are coming out of my mouth and I don't know how I'm speaking clearly. Aiden doesn't know how he's speaking clearly.
Oh,
Maddie's
isn't that cool? Oh.
And I'm just like, and he like walks away and Aiden goes, I don't know how I did that. And I was like, dog, I don't know either. I was like, we're like shaking. We're like, hold on. That like obviously was not us, but that was meant to happen.
And he started going to Aiden's life group?
Yeah.
How, did he keep showing up?
Mm-hmm. And
Whoa.
he works at Jimmy John's and Anna and I go and we'll like see him and we're like, what up, dude?
That's sick.
It's so cool.
So does he show up to Chi Alpha at all?
He hasn't lately. Well, summer, but he didn't do a lot of the big group stuff, but he did go to life groups, which was crazy, and he started doing one-on-ones with Aiden.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Those moments of being able to share the gospel and or answer questions from somebody, I've only had a few of those moments, and I want more. They're so fun and or they're thrilling. I don't know. Like right afterwards, you're riding high on the Holy Spirit, if you will. It's fun. I had one recently. It was after this podcast with my friend Josh Minter from high school. Dylan really likes Josh Minter. He super funny, not a believer whatsoever, right? We had a really good 2-hour-long conversation about all sorts of whatnot. He's hilarious. I kind of got to share my testimony with him. And then afterwards, there was a lot of trying to reflect on it based off of DE class and or some of the books that we read in there. It talks about how...
Did you read the books, though?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Insane.
I like reading books.
I did not get through them.
Really?
I got through a half of 2 of them. You guys also didn't read Master Plan of Evangelism, which was written like...
It's true, we didn't.
80 years ago. And it was just a lot. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to stop talking now.
No, you're good. Keep talking. That's what you're here for. I don't remember what the book is called, but it talks about the 5 stages, I think, of what non-Christians go through to then become a Christian. And the first stage is trusting a Christian, right? Then it eventually gets to curiosity. And so trying to like reflect on that night that led up to that moment, I was trying to think of why he felt comfortable to then start asking questions, right? It was there was a lot of cool moments of, I feel like, building trust, not only just through the conversation, but then afterwards, because he ended up staying the night. It was really cool. What do you think about alcohol? Because this ties back into the story.
So I think that there's with alcohol, it's an overindulgence problem, right? I think that's how it is with a lot of things. I mean, Anna was up here and was like, oh my gosh, you're turning 21. We can drink. And I was like, yeah, but it's not something that's like make or break, right?
Yeah.
And so biblically, it's, in my mind, things aren't a problem until it's idolized above God.
Yeah.
And if it's idolized at all, right? And so overindulgence, obviously it's idolized because we're called we're called to be of sober mind from drugs, alcohol, whatever, any addiction. And if you are addicted to something, that is taking place above the Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool, yeah.
I'm studying addictions, so that's like...
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah, I guess I don't even know your major. What's your major?
I am studying psychology with a minor in addictions and business.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
I'll get back to that. Just to tie into that story or whatever, I think there's one moment that really stuck out to my mind where I watched his face go, oh, okay. We were going through Walmart. I don't know why. I think we just walked around. It was after Denny's. We went to Walmart because we didn't know what to do. So when you don't know what to do, you just walk around
Small
Walmart.
towns, you go to Walmart.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a way to go.
That was kind of the vibe. So we ended up walking down one of the aisles towards the beverages, and he goes, do you drink? I go, no, but I just don't want to get drunk. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah. And then so we went and got some seltzers, and it was really fun. So all of a sudden we're cracking open some seltzers, and he starts asking me questions. I don't know. I think that was just a big moment of him not feeling different, if that makes sense, and or judged, and or, you know, it just built that trust.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And it's
super
crazy.
cool.
Well, and so I'm just like pouring everything. I managed a restaurant last summer.
Whoa.
And so I would hear problems, whether it was work related or not. And I remember, so I'd worked there for 4 years, only managed it last year. But like,
You get to whip your employees.
oh yeah, buddy. Ay. But there was one girl who's going to end up coming here, which I'm really excited for, that like saw a visible shift from me in high school to college.
Oh, cool.
And it was just like, you're different now, but it's like, you're not only accepting of who I am, but you're restoring me in a way that's God honoring. And it's crazy. And it sucks because I'm getting called out.
Right?
But
conviction doesn't feel good.
yeah, because that's, it sucks. But like, she's like, it's crazy, and I'm kind of scared for college because you're gonna whoop my butt. And I was like, correct.
Cool. Yeah. So she's been able to. Does she know Christ then?
Yeah, and she came up to visit back in December, and it was super exciting. And she got to like meet Chi Alpha people, and she's gonna be involved in Chi Alpha, and I'm super excited.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's your high school. First of all, I've heard a lot of stories now from you and Ryder.
Yeah,
Insane.
I think so bad. Yeah.
Why is it so bad?
So, North Idaho is a very first racist, sexist,
Let's go.
yippee
Represent.
skippy. There we go.
Proud to be.
Very like, I mean, Northern Idaho is the red part of Idaho, right? And
Yes.
so it was just really, I mean,
you were more in Washington though, right?
no, not really.
I thought you were in Cheney.
No, Spirit Lake is where Timberlake
Oh.
was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. And so we had our fair share of like random things and just kind of crazy things. I also wasn't involved in the whole scheme of things, but I mean, from my freshman year to my senior year, we had like 410 students. My senior year we had 600.
Wow.
It was, so like my freshman year, it was weird if you didn't know someone's name.
Yeah.
My senior year, I was like, who are these people?
Yeah, we graduated with people that I've never seen before.
Yeah,
in my entire
and Mateo
life.
was talking about it, and she was like, yeah, there's some people, I was like, who is that? And I was like, that's insane, because I felt weird if I didn't know anybody in my class. I felt weird if I didn't know them from, like, when I left, I only didn't know freshmen, but it still weirded me out.
Yeah, it's like our entire class then that graduated was the size of your
Yeah.
entire school. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Even then, though, that's still way bigger than a lot of people's high school experiences. At least you have way more shenanigans than going on.
Yeah.
I know my middle school experience was really bad. I like to share how bad it was, where in the lunchroom, there was a rule that if the duty came by the table and said hands up, you had to put your hands up, because some kid was caught doing it under the table to himself.
That kid's awesome.
That's insane.
Dylan's a fan of him.
We had to get rid of the vending machines at our middle school because high schoolers were doing it behind the vending machines.
Behind what?
I don't know.
How many vending machines are there, like in a row?
So at the middle school, there was 2. And so it was like the wall, space, vending machine, space, vending machine. And then right there was the gym. So like it wasn't a secluded space.
Yeah, not at all.
And there was cameras everywhere, especially at the vending machines. So I don't know. Doug, horny teenagers, crazy.
That is
like
crazy.
Actually insane.
Postal High School, we had the band room where there was doors that locked from the inside, no cameras. Like
Yep,
separate rooms.
that
People
was
would
our.
go. Yep.
Yeah, we had an theater couch that was like, don't touch the theater couch.
Oh gosh.
And then the band room. I think it was halfway through my junior year, when our band teacher finally caught on what was going on. And I mean, he had ended
How did
up,
the teachers not know?
I don't know, but he had ended up putting up like blackout curtains in the room in case of like drills, right? And I was like, well, all of the things that can happen and do happen.
Yeah, he's helping them out.
Yeah. And now he's a pastor, and I love that for him. Yeah.
Where do you know him still?
Yeah. I got to play on his Christmas Eve service 2 years ago. He
Whoa.
called me and was like, I couldn't think of anybody else who would be better to do this. And I was like, I'm going to cry.
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah. Did you do sports in high school or was it just band?
Yeah. I was a varsity athlete in volleyball, wrestling, and track.
Wow. Okay.
And
awesome.
then my junior year, I stopped because I had hip problems. And so I really dug into band then. But I was pretty well-rounded. Academics, I could have done better in, but
I did awful.
I just
all
didn't
around.
care.
Yeah. Cool. You do the bass, right?
Yeah.
You're, do you like it?
Yes. So I played seven different instruments, but bass is my favorite and the only one I still keep up with.
7 is a lot.
It is. I played low brass and strings.
I don't know what that is.
So tuba, trombone, euphonium.
You play the tuba?
I do.
Okay, so as somebody who has no musical talent or knowledge whatsoever, I know what a tuba is because of VeggieTales.
Yep.
Where Larry comes out with the tuba.
Yep.
Well,
which is
anybody
funny
who can play the
because
tuba,
it's a sousaphone.
I immediately think is awesome.
Yeah.
The what?
So a sousaphone is a tuba that wraps around your body. So tuba, there's like a concert tuba that you sit with, and then there's a sousaphone that you can like wear, and that's what they use for marching bands, pep bands, VeggieTales, etc.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's not a real tuba?
It is a real tuba. It's just a different shape.
It's a wearable tuba.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
It wraps around you. It's a whole deal.
Do you have bug bites from yesterday?
I don't.
I have a huge swelling right here.
Oh gosh.
Can you
I
see
don't
that?
get bit. Yeah, I see it.
I don't know that.
How's your arms, dog? After crashing into that tree.
Yeah, they're fine.
Darica.
I should
make sure to let go. Bam.
I need to show Dylan that. I went on a rope swing and I didn't let go because it was first of all shallow and I went, oh no, and then there was seaweed and I went, I'm not dropping in that, and all of a sudden I was inside of a tree.
Well, and literally 5 seconds before he goes, Darica, just make sure you let go.
Yep.
And don't run into the tree. And then, well, bam. Is that from the tree too?
I got humbled by God.
Just your leg.
Oh, every scratch on me is from that. Okay. Yeah. That, and then I know I got something somewhere from crashing the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got some bruises. I got some weird ones. I don't know why. But I mean, I held on to that log for a while, so I probably got some from there.
That log was fun.
That was very fun, but I don't know how I stayed on for that long.
Anybody watching, I will put the video of me eating it into the tree. Oh, cool. What were we talking about? Anyway,
Tuba, sousaphone.
Tubas.
Instruments.
Yeah, how long have you been working on the bass?
So I started my 8th grade year because I'd picked up my dad's guitar and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. I can play on worship team. And then I went to our
cool.
worship leader and he was like, you have potential, but you've been playing this for like a week. And I was like, I know, I need help. And he was like, wait, you read bass clef. Here's a bass, and handed me a bass to just like have. And I was like, okay. And so I learned.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so bass, what does that even sound like when you're just practicing alone?
So it depends. It's really weird because if you just play the bass without like an amp or anything, you can't really hear it. But if you put it to your wall, it will vibrate through the wall and you can hear it. And my mom would yell at me because she could hear it in her room because mine was kind of next to her. So even if like she was on that side and I put my bass on this side, she'd be like, stop playing.
How do you connect it to the wall? Or are you just putting your whole bass up on the wall and hitting the strings?
Neck right on it, and you just, so you know when I hold the bass and it's over here.
So the vibrations go up into the wall?
So just like the end of it, I just like stuck on the wall and I was like doing it.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I would
your poor mom.
I would just find things that I wanted to play, and then my band teacher gave me like a pep band book of songs that I needed to know for high school, and I just went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. I took guitar class in high school. I didn't take it seriously though whatsoever. I was just there for the easy grade kind of thing. So pulling the strings was pretty fun. My brother, he's really into it. He's able to play the acoustic guitar pretty well, and I really miss actually hearing him practice through the walls. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's even when he would be repeating the same thing for hours and hours and hours,
Mm-hmm.
it was still enjoyable for some reason. Just to hear him practice. It's kind of cool.
I'll forget that I can play things, and then I'll like rediscover. Because right now, all my instruments are like upstairs, and so I'll walk past and like, oh, ukulele, look at that. And then I'll just like grab it and start playing it for a couple days and go put it back. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can play the guitar. And go back downstairs, play it for a little bit, bring it back up.
That's crazy.
I'm just like, whoa.
Are you addicted to instruments?
I think so. I'm addicted to music in general.
Yeah, fair enough.
My minutes for listening to music last year was 187,000 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How many hours is that?
A lot.
Too many.
Too many.
Or maybe not enough.
Yeah. And it was, yeah.
So addictions, that's what you're studying, right?
Yeah.
So what goes on in your brain when you have an addiction?
So it depends on what kind of addiction, right? I haven't gotten into the big stuff. A lot of stuff that I've started taking has been like case management, how like group therapy works versus individual therapy.
Oh.
But just how you like deal with those situations. And I got to sit in on a group therapy thing, and it was super cool because they do counseling at the Layton Recovery Center, and they just have like NA meetings, AA meetings, and it's crazy to just like listen to them and like just sit in. Because so when I was in the restaurant, I ended up getting super addicted to nicotine and caffeine.
Nice.
So good. And I'm not now. I'm like almost
nice.
a year clean of both of them, which is super cool.
Good job.
But because so I would work 18 to 20 hours a day.
That's a lot.
I would sleep there. I had 10 days off total, including Sikkim, which is a week-long trip.
That's too many.
It's a lot.
How did you sleep there?
I had an office downstairs, and so I would go sleep in the corner of the office. It was, what? 10 days total. And all 3 of the other days that I had off, I went to and hung out with Matea and Aiden, and we played pickleball, and nobody knew what was going on. And it was crazy.
You just have to accept your fate.
Yeah. But, like, now that I'm studying it, I mean, they saw me, and they didn't know how bad it was because when you are addicted to something and you want to keep up this presentation, you don't let them know. I was going into facilitating. I was like going into all of this, and I was like, I can't let them know anything's going on. And then, but in reality, you have to be open with them biblically and through just like counseling, right?
Yeah, sure.
You have to.
Human psychology.
Yeah. It's way easier to tell the people that you know and trust and who love you.
Oh, for sure.
Than I'm going to do this by myself. Because, oh man, no, you can't. It is so hard. But yeah, crazy. Yeah, that was a little deep dive.
So you said there's different types of addiction?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So
what different types?
I mean, like you can be addicted to drugs, alcohol, but then there's like chemical, like hormone addictions almost, like love addictions, right?
Hey, yo.
Which is crazy. And like I know a lot about because I study that a lot. Or like not because of school, but just because like it's interesting. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, just the human psyche and how it all works, why we even like the things that we like.
Yeah.
What's the most bizarre addiction that you've heard of?
I don't know of the most bizarre addiction, but the bizarre reactions.
Oh.
So
like withdrawals, you mean?
I had a friend who had gotten broken up with and started having seizures because he was withdrawing from the love addiction that he had.
Whoa.
It was insane. And it was just kind of like it's those emotional addictions and reactions that we have are just as bad as like narcotics and alcohol. It's crazy.
Do you know what causes a seizure?
Nope. Not in that situation. It just happens.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get addicted to love then. That's terrifying.
And like it's not supposed to be like a don't fall in love type thing.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to go into it with like a good mindset and like not this person is my all and my everything, right? And that's why it's really important to first have a biblically based relationship and then be sure to still have who you are It's who are you and who are you with this person?
Yeah.
Not just I am with this person.
Yeah. Like I've only had one serious relationship back in high school. It ended not soon after I graduated, but it really ended after I kind of ended up, especially when it came to my own relationship with God. I didn't really have one. And so my relationship with God then was her responsibility, right? And it became all about basically not only my relationship with God, but my happiness. And then it was all her responsibility along with my entire social life.
Yeah.
Because all my friends moved away. And that was just simply not sustainable. In fact, it was very unhealthy and awful for her, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. A love addiction, that's interesting because it took me a long time to get over that relationship. If anything, I don't even know if I am still.
And some things take a very long time to get over. And it'll like pop up randomly and you're just like, what the heck?
Yeah. I always wonder like how much of it might be the enemy, if you will.
Yeah.
Satan and or demons
absolutely.
trying to get me flustered and or take my eyes off of God. Because I obsessed over her so much that for a long time she was what I worshipped rather than God.
Yeah.
Right? So then not only that, but then it would bring me discomfort, either sadness or anger or any confusion even thinking about it, and it would distract me from Christ.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of I've always wondered what those random little moments of my brain bringing it up
Which is
were.
so crazy. And it's just like the most you're attacked is when you're the closest to God. Right? Because Satan's not going to attack you if you're already attacking yourself. If he's gotten under your skin so much to the point where you're not talking to God anymore, then he doesn't have to deal with that.
Wow.
And I have like a theory. I don't know how I came up with this theory, but I was thinking and I was like, if God cannot stop you, or not God, if Satan can't stop you from tearing your relationship apart with God, does he try to stop you from reaching others? Because our roommate is like, anything happens, instantly consults God. And I strive.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so cool. And I'm just like, I'm in awe. And I want to be like that. And I try to do that all the time. But I'm like, are we thrown into things because because the enemy is trying to like make us unavailable for the other people that are relying on us, who are continuing to grow their relationship with God and without us are kind of like, don't necessarily know their way. And so at the beginning of this year, I was like doing a lot of school, figuring out social stuff, like all of this. And I was like trying to focus on my relationship with God. And I started like faltering in the facilitating aspect. And it was really stressful. And I was like, is this the enemy trying to pull me away from them? And so it seems like God isn't reliable because I'm not reliable, instead of trying to go after my relationship with God because he knows he can't.
Yeah. Man, yeah, like how much power do you think Satan and or the demons have?
I think it's as much as we kind of let him.
Yeah.
In some aspects, but also I'm getting really loud.
No, good. Please get loud. This room makes even whispering sound loud.
Okay.
And then in the microphones in the video, it's as if we're just speaking very quietly in the microphone. So the louder you are, the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the mic is set.
Exactly. And it's not like Satan isn't omnipotent, right? God is. So he knows everything, which is harder for us because like he knows everything, but we don't want to talk to him about that. There's that one thing that we don't want to talk to him about.
Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of the time when I ask him, I don't really get a response, or at least immediately. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And patience is the best thing that God has to offer. And I hate that.
How do you listen to God? How do you hear him?
Or
see him or...
I think God has a very funny sense of humor.
Yes.
There have been multiple times where I'm just like, can you just tell me? And he like tells me right then. And I'm like, you suck. Like, okay, I distinctly remember swing dancing one time, and I had like gone out with, this was like freshman year, and I'd gone out with this guy, and I was like, God, is this what I'm supposed to do? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. and he instantly came running over talking about another girl not knowing I was there.
Whoa.
And I was like, very funny. Who? I was like, very funny. You suck. And I just remember doing that, and I was like, okay, I get that. You want me to focus on you. It's fine.
That's cool.
I was just like, so I think he also, one of my favorite stories is when Jacob wrestled with God. I think it's Jacob. And
I think so.
I think it's Jacob, yeah. And Luke reminds me of that constantly, because I'll be like, I just haven't heard from God. And he's like, you need to sit and wrestle with him. And I'm like, I don't want to, because I know I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like losing. Like, my whole personality is winning and arguing and coming out on top. I don't want to lose. And I always come out feeling way better, because he's like, just surrender it, right? It's not take it. It's I'm giving this to you. And so I think
it's winning, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm winning at life because I'm in communication with God, but God also just whooped my butt.
I mean, is it really a battle against God, or is it a battle against your own will? Right?
Exactly.
So it's really, you're winning by putting down your own self kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I always like the analogy where the God only gives Satan enough rope to hang himself with kind of thing. It's, super cool.
Well, and Satan is very observant, so he will know things before you do, like based on patterns, right? So if you go back to the same pattern, and I mean, like, he's watched our families deal with things, right? And so, but he knows where to hit us, but he doesn't know how we're dealing with it inside.
Yeah.
Which I think is why it is so important when you are under attack, or like you feel under attack, to speak it out loud. To pray.
Even call upon
to call upon Jesus out loud.
Yep.
Because it literally makes him tremble.
Do you think when it comes to praying, do you think even when you're just in private, right, or going to bed, do you think speaking out loud is different and or matters compared to just praying in your head?
I don't think...
Or writing it out? I don't know if there's differences or not.
I don't think there's necessarily a difference. I think it's how you kind of interpret it. So I try to start my prayer in the morning, and then I'll like pray when I'm walking to work and like doing whatever, and it'll be out loud, because I'll be like, did you see that? I know you saw that, but also, did you see it from my perspective? Or like, this cool thing happened. I know you already know that, but
Yeah.
And so I'll just like talk to him casually, and then I have like at night I'll actually like traditional prayer, and I'll be like, okay, and then I'll end my prayer at the end of the day. So really I only have one big prayer throughout the entire day. But I also write prayers down. I also pray in my head, especially when people are around, that I don't necessarily like think, like, I know I should pray around everyone, but it's like I don't want to make them uncomfortable, but I'm still going to pray for the situation.
There's a moment for everything.
Yeah. I also discovered you can pray in your sleep, which is crazy.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, so
what does that mean?
So before winter camp, I had extremely vivid nightmares that was like, I was getting like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, like definitely the enemy trying to like knock me off my guard, and I didn't know what to do. And it was so bad. I remember like my dreams are like a movie, but you can see it through my eyes, so it's like a video game movie. And all of a sudden, like, Dream Me looked and was like, you need to wake up now. And I was like, huh? And then I started praying, and I was like, hold on, you can pray in your sleep? And I woke up and it was good, and I was like, I don't feel panicked, I don't feel rushed. And I started praying out loud. And then my Nana has this tip of like, if you wake up from a nightmare, because I was having them so much, you go through the alphabet and talk about, or like say a word for each thing God is.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I would do that. And then right after winter camp, they all went away. And I was like, insane.
He's awesome, beautiful,
cool,
crazy,
creative. And yeah. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, what do you say when you get to X? And she was like, I've never gotten to X because I'm always asleep by then. And I'm like, oh, okay.
So nightmares, like,
yeah,
I've had some extreme nightmares, not just a regular nightmare.
No, like it was like full on, like knowing my worst fears almost. It was like my subconscious trying to attack me, but also like.
Do you think it is your subconscious, or do you think there's external influence? Or
I
maybe
think
it can
it's
be both. Both.
Because, or almost, I would expect to have them every night. And so I would not sleep, or I would push it off, which would make it worse because you're so sleep deprived and you're in such a deep sleep. and then just external factors.
Have you had any consecutive, I don't know what I'd call it, consecutive and or repeating or similar patterns in dreams?
I had repeating themes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it all came back to like me not being able to control everything. And so it was always my fault, which in the moment when all this was happening, I was trying to fix everything and I had just given up. And I was like, I want to let this go. And so it was like a repeat. You letting go is not going to be a good, and God's going to fail you. And I was like, shut up.
Whoa, yeah, that's crazy. My brother Jeremiah, he's had some what we think are demon experiences, right? Or encounters, if you will. And one of them was in a dream. He was going through our childhood home. There's like a little crawl space below the stairs. Super scary in there. Spiders everywhere. It's super dark, right? It's just a crawl space with a ton of boxes in there. He described it as going through there, and I don't really want to describe it too much, but let's just say a monster was there, right? And he remembers feeling he was in so much fear that he could not move, and how he was entranced looking at this thing, and the only thing that he could do was call out for Christ's name, right? Like that's the only thing that eventually made it stop. And he remembers yelling for Christ in his dream over and over and over again until it stopped. Crazy stuff.
I'm like shaking. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like sucks, but like, it's so good at the same time.
I don't think I've really had a demon encounter. At least not one that was very apparent. I mean, I'm sure, the spiritual battle is daily, but when it comes to extreme dreams, I did have a monster. Imagine like a standing up Sasquatch throughout my childhood. I always thought it was real back then. It was probably around like 8 years old, if you will. He would come out of my parents' room after music would play, and he'd hunt down my entire family.
That's crazy.
Yeah, except we would always survive, all of us. We'd usually go barricade in my older brother's room, and this would happen every so often. And it was just a regular thing. And I only realized that it was weird after I brought it up to my family. I brought up the gorilla, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" I thought it was real. It kept happening, and it only stopped after there was no music. So music would always introduce it, right? No music happened, and it walked up the stairs. It was, imagine like a split off from the front door. It walked up the stairs. I'm sitting there in the living room watching TV, and I just see it. And we start making eye contact, and it just stares at me at the top of the stairs. I remember just being frozen, and my dad came out over the safari outfit and shot it. And I remember watching it fall to the ground, and that was the last time I ever had that dream.
Crazy.
So it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right? I think personally it's all about my father and what that embodies, if you will. I think I was making jokes yesterday about how I don't have a dad. I do have a dad. He's still alive. Actually, it's been a huge blessing and or big God thing in my family that he's kind of back in my life more so now.
That's so good.
I called him on Father's Day for the first time in years.
Wow.
That was cool. But yeah, he hasn't exactly changed though. It's more about forgiving him and or still honoring my father as God calls me to do. I don't have to respect him, but I will honor him. But yeah, it's like, so not to throw shade at him, he's he's my father. I love him, but he is a narcissistic manipulator, which led to the divorce of my parents at about 12 and or the destruction of the family, right? So I think it's really interesting. All my siblings and we all share the same experience with our parents' bedroom, especially, where when you walk in, there's a weight. There's a weight on your shoulders, and it would kind of build fear, at least inside of 8-year-old me, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was, and that's where the monster came out of.
Crazy.
And it's like there's a lot more to it that I feel like puts the puzzle pieces together. But if I had to assume anything, the monster would have represented my father, because I feared whenever he'd come home, just because I know he would he wouldn't beat me or anything. There was nothing like that going on. It was all verbal and or just there was no respect for my individuality, if that makes sense. As soon as he was home, it didn't matter what I was doing. I would have to go help him do whatever he has to do. And then I'd be home at 3 a.m. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's really cool. just the psychology behind dreams has always fascinated me. I've always wanted to lucid dream. Do you remember your dreams?
Some of them. I had this reoccurring one, which is not as scary as this one. But do you know the dinosaur vitamins that we would have as like kids?
Yeah, like little gummy ones. Yeah.
I had a dream that it grew life size and would chase me around my childhood backyard.
That's awesome.
And it was reoccurring for like 8 years.
What?
Like the full gummy. Like it didn't turn into a dinosaur. It was the like
Just a giant gummy.
the giant gummy just chasing me
That feels more
around.
like a good thing than a bad thing.
I was terrified because it would like switch dinosaurs.
What?
It was crazy.
What do you think that means?
I have no idea. Well, it's really funny because I like love dinosaurs, and I have a little tattoo of a dinosaur now.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Triceratops.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Have you ever played Ark Survival Evolved?
No, but Cody tells me I need to play it.
Yeah, there you go. Cody's played it a lot. Such a good game. I've sunk way too many hours into it. That's for sure. Oh yeah, dreams. I've tried to lucid dream before. You have to kind of write down your dreams so then you remember them more.
Yeah.
And then at least all the YouTube tutorials on how to do it, right? Whether that's actually helpful or not. You have to wake yourself up in the middle of the night, write down your dream, then go back to sleep, and you're supposed to then have a lucid dream.
Crazy.
After a few weeks of doing that.
Weird.
Which I have never stuck with it long enough to do that. But
It gets boring after a while.
yeah, or like I just don't want to wake up and write down my thing in the middle of the night, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think addictions can manifest within the mind when it comes to dreaming?
Maybe. I think that you can have problems with like fantasizing or romanticizing, and I think that comes alive through our dreams. Because I mean, like even when we talk about it, like if you're staring off into space, you're like daydreaming, or you dream of what you want. And so I think the things that we fantasize about can totally manifest within that. And so I think it can be a recurring thing, or it's like I think people could even like be addicted to dreaming, or you can be addicted to pretty much anything. Or it's like sleeping, and it's like, this is the time I get to live out this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely felt that. I love sleeping. Oh, man. It's hard to wake up in the morning. Do you think people can get addicted to things such as depression even?
I think so. I think people can be so comfortable with where they're at that or just even think that there's no moving up from here or moving on from this. And so it's just like, I'd rather stay addicted to this than be addicted to something else.
Yeah, the change aspect of it.
Because there's even science behind, like, if you have an addiction and you kick that addiction, it's most likely you're addicted to something else.
Oh.
Which is crazy.
It's more about transitioning it?
Alpha offers, like, the Living Free and the Unraveled groups.
Yeah.
And so I read through the curriculum because I'm going to lead one, which I'm really excited about.
Ooh.
But it talks about how because the Unraveled one is mainly, it's for love, sex, and something else.
Drugs. I don't know.
Something. Love, sex, and rock and roll, baby.
Hey.
And so it talks about how you have to be careful with what you're doing and what you're replacing that with. Because, I mean, in high school, I definitely had, like, love addictions. It was like, I had to have this. And then high school, I graduated. Everything happened with the ex-boyfriend I was supposed to marry. And so I then started getting kind of hooked on, like, the whole nicotine thing. And then I stopped when I came to college. And then I don't even know I think it was more of like a sloth thing. So I would like stay in my room and I was like, nothing else. So I was like, I'm not hurting anybody because I'm just staying in my room watching TV. That's what that was. And so it like changes and you just have to like kick it all. And it's just like, nope. And now I think I'm addicted to adrenaline, but I don't know. Could be a thing. I think so.
Instead of getting...
all the time.
instead of getting high on drugs, you got to get high on the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, buddy. Well, and that's the thing. Like yesterday when we were out and those people were like drinking, and I was like, imagine having to be under the influence of something to have fun with your friends.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
Well, what I said last night.
what'd you say last night?
Fun that I see people, they drink to have that fun that we were having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were completely sober-minded and throwing watermelon at each other.
Okay.
Well, and that's the thing when you like, I have never had a healthy Christian group of friends that were not just like, and that like also
neither.
like different, like male and female, right? And so it's crazy. And it's like, this is what life is supposed to be like. Like, this is the life that Jesus lived with a whole
cool.
lot less messing up. But
At least on his part.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like the Bible documents all of the things he said that was really important for us to hear. But it was also important for us to hear that man laughed. He probably snored while he slept and
Oh,
like
yeah.
all of these things. And it's so like he was man and God at the same time and is man and God at the same time. And he did that so we could live that out through him. And so it's crazy, just kind of like Jesus had fun too. We don't have to just do this.
Do you think he made jokes?
I think so. My first ever life group. Oh my gosh. They were talking about The Chosen and how it put a personality to Jesus and how he had a sense of humor. And first ever life group, like becoming a baby Christian. And I go, if Jesus made a sex joke, would you laugh? And everyone was just silent. And I was just like, I'm going to kill myself. And then Sarah Young started laughing and everyone else started laughing. And I was like, I'm never coming back here. Absolutely not. Screw that. And yeah, some things I just say on my mind.
Well,
And
would you laugh?
I would.
Me too.
Like straight up.
I'd laugh if Jesus. I mean, I'd laugh if anybody said it.
Exactly. Well, it's just like if our Lord and Savior cracks a sex joke. Do you laugh? Well,
Do you
and then
think he would, though? I guess is more the question.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
If Jesus fell out of a tree, would you laugh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. If he was on a rope swing and absolutely ate it because he didn't let go, I would be laughing. For
I would
sure.
laugh. And I would
Yeah.
I would make sure he was okay, but I would laugh. And I'd go, silly goose. Which is a way nicer way of saying dumbass.
Dude, what do you think about swearing?
I've been so good about swearing. And then I started hanging around Ryder and it's been like coming back. It's so bad. But
Do you think it is bad?
I think how you use it and how it affects you can be bad. Because, I mean, I was just talking about this with Talia. Because a lot of swear words are meant to hurt other people. Which
Yeah.
is why the S word is my favorite word. Because you can stub your toe and yell that and not hurt anybody's feelings. And so it's just kind of like, how are you going to say it? There's some curse words that I won't say. I hate the C word.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, I didn't. The CU one. I don't know. CUNT. Yeah, spell like hope.
See, I just thought of another CU word that I don't think I should say.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think that it's definitely something that our culture just kind of makes normal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up around it. I love my father, but he swears all the time. And so I was just kind of like saying mother effer since I was like 6. And so kicking that is hard.
Just because it's the cultural norm doesn't mean it's
Exactly.
it's okay or right or good or anything and everything. I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
and-
That's kind of the whole thing with Jesus. He got crucified because he was not culturally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silly goose.
What a dude.
What a dude. Do you think, have you been persecuted at all? In any form?
Yeah. So when we went to SBO, Carl and I were at
What a squad.
What a squad.
What a
it was
squad.
crazy.
That's-
We were tabling and there was a Free Palestine protest. And I wasn't super educated on it at the time. And I was kind of like, whatever. And then there was like it wasn't a fight, like fist fight, but like yelling match that started. and the people who had started it came up because we were doing hot drinks, and they came up and like asked us what we thought, and I was like, I don't know a lot about it. And then we started talking about Christianity, and I tried erasing it from my brain because I was so mad about it, but they just kept. First they started dogging on Christians, and I was like, that's fine, like whatever. And then it was like, I think this is just how I am, but it was like shooting at me, moved on to Carl, I got mad, and then they moved on to Jesus. And that's when I was like, I'm done. And then Luke walked up.
Oh.
And I was like, and then they left, and I was like, dog, I got to take a walk around the park. But yeah, it was just kind of weird because it's like, oh, because they had told us that we didn't know our effing book because Jesus wasn't really like that, and he was just some guy who did these things, and we were basically wasting our lives away. And I was like, interesting. And I was just like, that's fine. I see him in heaven.
Do you think demons can manifest?
Yes.
They can do physical...
I think, I don't know if they can become like physical beings, but I think that there are people who open their minds to that.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays, I think they're very open to that, which is scary.
Even if they're not aware of it?
Yeah.
Or purposefully allow themselves to be...
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think... Man, yeah. I don't think I've ever personally been persecuted for what I believe in any capacity, I don't think. Now, at least nothing comes to my mind. I've never had, I don't think, an experience where somebody was telling me how dumb I am for believing in what I believe in. Most of the people I feel like I talk to are generally respectful, right? As I want to be to them.
Exactly.
It's it's interesting. I'll see videos, of course. This I don't how do you feel about the social media?
Just social media in general?
Yeah.
I wish I could just like get rid of it. I keep Snapchat for Chi Alpha things.
Yep.
I don't even have Instagram on my phone anymore.
There you go.
I'll go on it sometimes. And I have Facebook to look at dirt bikes.
Heck yeah. You're going to buy a dirt bike?
Yes, I'll buy a dirt bike.
Nice. I might have to, dang it.
I want to, but I can't afford it.
I say we buy a house bike and it just stays there.
I would happily pitch in a little bit.
I say that would work so well.
I'll pitch in for gas. I'll buy gas.
Yeah, so anyways, I've seen videos on the social medias of people preaching or evangelizing right on the street, and somebody will walk up and just start bad mouthing, just absolute like walking up to fight, right? And usually when they start speaking truth into them, they run away mad. And it's like, okay, so how much of that is actually the person, and how much of that is actually the entity speaking through them or trying to promote anger in that person or anything, right? Trying to belittle their patience, right?
Yeah.
Try and make them fall away or take control of the situation rather than giving it to God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think that happening was a coincidence, because I am very very hot-headed, and like anger is a very primary emotion. So in that moment, I wanted what felt like a righteous anger, but I was just kind of like, breathe.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because as soon as I was calm, it went away. But it was like I was angry, but I wasn't saying anything. And then it was fine. And then like they walked away and Carl was like, can we pray for them? And I was like, yeah, buddy.
Oh, nice. That's Carl.
Two very different people. I was like, I'm a punt them.
Common Carl W.
I know. Crazy guy.
Where is he now?
I think he's in Alaska right now.
Why is so many people from Alaska?
I don't know. What's up with that? I say ban the Alaskans.
Well, it's all right.
Exactly. What a dude. Yeah,
He's also from Alaska?
Luke, Cade, Carl. There was one. Finn? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ollie was from Alaska.
Yeah.
Really? That's it? Oh, wow. I thought there was way more.
But like, with like,
So
Alaska's not close.
No, not at all. This is an out-of-state college for him.
Yeah.
It's in the lower 48. Why?
Lower 48. Oh, like, what do you mean by that?
Lower 48 states?
Okay. South of Canada.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Have you been to Canada?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, how was it?
Good. I got to do like the ropes courses, and we went to Lake Louise. And
I don't know what that is. There's rope courses? That's cool.
Lake Louise is a big old glacier, and you can, like, it's the clearest water and the coldest water ever. And I asked my mom if I could drink it, and she told me no, and then I did it anyway.
Do you have worms?
No. I was 12.
If you can have parasites, how do you know if you have parasites?
You start feeling like crap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Not even like... Okay, cool. So I probably don't have any then.
Why would you have any?
Yesterday?
No. Not yesterday. I don't know. I've eaten a lot of things in my life.
You brought this up in the first episode?
I did?
Yeah, you asked, you're like, how do you get rid of them? And I'm like, tear them out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have no idea if I do or not, but
Crazy.
I figure, I don't know.
Well, some people eat parasites
Nice.
to get rid of
Dead
like
ones,
excess.
hopefully?
Nope. To get rid of like, what are
like
they?
tapeworms?
Jockeys? Yeah. Will just eat tapeworms to get rid of, to be lighter for their horses to go faster.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wild. That's commitment.
It's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Get help.
I mean, I've always thought about it. You know what? Never mind. Yeah. All right, cool. How do I shift this away from parasites? What's a good segue?
I don't know, a break?
I say,
Oh, break? Sure.
It's been an hour.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
All right, pausing.
It's colliding, I guess. He all loved you guys.
That's so good.
All, like walking out, he's like, "Dude, all your friends are so cool." And I'm like, "I know, right? I can't believe it." It was super cool. Just I like showing him off. He's a big handsome hunk, that's for sure.
That's
And
crazy.
I look up to him in many ways, so it's fun having him around.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, he's my twin. That's right. All right, let's get into this.
Cool.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we do.
Ow. I want to know your testimony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I grew up in a Christian household.
Nice.
My
Same.
uncle
Kind of.
founded Post Falls Real Life.
Whoa, like the mega church?
Yeah.
Wait, who's your uncle?
Brandon Gendon.
Because
His best friend is Jim Putman.
my cousin just married Jim Putman's son.
Crazy.
And not just, I mean, it's been a few years now. They just had a kid, though.
Oh, yeah.
Megan Putman now, I guess?
Crazy.
Do you know her?
No, but I know him.
You know Will Putman? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was just hanging out with Will. That's cool.
Insane.
What a small world.
Yeah, and so very Christian household. We moved up here when I was 7 to be closer to my aunt and uncle. My dad would travel back and forth from California to Idaho for like a year and a half. And then when he came up here for good, it was like I had a completely different dad. He used to be very, very family focused. And then all of a sudden he was very work focused.
Yeah.
And so growing up, we still went to church, but my mom ended up being the kind of leader of our spiritual growth and just in general. But my mom had severed her spinal cord. And so she is extremely disabled.
Whoa.
When I was 4. So, like,
Can I ask what happened?
we have no idea. They went to Russia to adopt our brothers, and then she...
Whoa, wait, okay. Whoa.
Back up.
Who's adopting children in Russia?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And she just
Crazy.
comes back with a broken spine.
She comes back with a lot of pain and keeps going to work, and then finally they she goes in, and they're like, something's wrong, do a surgery. Gets worse, severed. And so, yeah, it's just been like that since I was 4, so 16, almost 17 years. Yeah. And so she had to leave her job. We moved up here. And then in the 4th grade, my cousin and my aunt and uncles moved down to Texas. And so now we're up in Idaho by ourselves, which is crazy. And so they founded the Real Life North Campus, which was like a 5-minute walk from our house, and so we started going there. And then the representation that we had of Christianity was awful.
Right.
And so I was like, if this is what it means to be Christian, absolutely I don't want to. I got into high school, and I dated this one guy who was super abusive, like, but verbally, physically, like.
Miss him, bring him back.
Yeah.
Shout out that guy.
Yeah, buddy. And so I got out of that relationship. We dated for like a month, but somehow traumatized me for the rest of my life in a month. And
It's a big learning.
Yeah.
Big learning lesson.
And
Yeah.
because my dad had like such a big switch, I kept trying to find that through dudes. And then I ended up dating this one guy who I dated for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it ended with him cheating on me, like really badly. And so we had been I had sworn off Christian guys because I was like, if that's how a Christian guy treats me, I don't ever want to do that. 6 to 7 months later, I would just like, I found a new friend group. I like refound who I was, started dating this other dude. So my testimony revolves around the dudes I did. It's kind of crazy. And he was not a Christian. He did not like the thought of Christianity whatsoever. And we dated for a year and a half. We were planning on getting married. And then right before, like 2 weeks before coming to college, cheated on me. And he was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did this. I'm so confused. So I called it off. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. I'm not marrying somebody who's doing that. Came to college, avoided everybody, tried fixing it with that boyfriend because I was like, I will do my best. And I just couldn't. And in the long run, I think it was God being like, this is not what I've planned for you. And if I have to show you in this way, I'm going to.
Yeah.
And so I'm very thankful for that. And so I came to college.
So coming to college, what relationship with Christ did you have?
I knew he was there. But I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And so I found Chi Alpha. I met with Sarah Young. I told her nothing. And then fall breakaway happened and I told her everything. And I was just like, why would a God like this ever love somebody like me who is so utterly broken and like terrible and redeem that? Like, I feel like I've sinned too much for his grace.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can, no matter how far you run, you never outrun his grace. And so I started coming back to church, started actually like being invested. I surrounded myself with semi-good people. So I would be good most of the time, not all the time. I had some friends that we would like, they really liked to party and I wanted to fit in. And so I would go. There was one point where I had like driven them to a dance club and I sat in the back and I read my Bible. It was really funny. And then, yeah, I came to college, found out what you're supposed to really be treated like through friends and just through like relationships in general. I then rebuilt my relationship with my dad.
Oh, cool.
And then I rebuilt it with my brothers, kind of.
The
it wasn't
Russians.
like, yeah. What, guys? Like, nothing was really broken, but it was just kind of like a better relationship. We bettered our relationships. And then, yeah.
Cool. Then from there, you avoided the Chi Alpha desk until...
Yeah, until one day I was like, I guess it'll make my mom happy. But then I didn't, and now here I am. And I got gaslit into becoming a facilitator. I was like,
Nice,
I don't
yeah,
think
good.
I have the capabilities of doing this. And Leah was like, you've been leading life group for the past month, and I just haven't told you. And I was like, what? Excuse me?
Peer pressure is the way to go.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And she goes, here's this application. We're going to fill it out together. And I was like, oh, I hate you.
Cool. All right. So, like, through all of that, then, you know, what ultimately made you even open to God? I guess you said the relationship.
Yeah. It was finding out that God is not who people show him to be, right? Like, we have our own relationships with God, and sometimes we do really well at showing who he is, and sometimes we really don't.
I mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
And one thing that I really want to do is if I'm the only Bible that somebody can read, I best do the best job.
Oh, that's a... Whoa, I like that a lot.
I best do God good.
Yeah.
And so...
we better.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And
But, I mean...
Yeah.
There's also... I just found myself stressing out for a second. But I got to remind myself that, well, the Lord will prepare me for the time that, you know, whatever he needs me to say, he'll prepare me for it. And or if he doesn't, then he'll just speak through me. Yeah. Or he'll just be using it as a lesson, I guess. Yeah. I've always thought about it. I've definitely had a lot of conversations where it came to a spiritual place, but I was not either, I didn't have the knowledge or the experience or the way to say it. And I feel like I've absolutely pushed some people further away. You know, I don't know how ultimately that works in a God's big, huge orchestrated plan, right? If anything, it's more so just to teach me something. I don't know how that will affect them in the future. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of weighed on me in the past for sure. It doesn't feel good knowing the love of Christ and then misrepresenting it. It's probably one of the worst things you can do, honestly. It sucks. It doesn't, I don't know. It just sucks.
Yeah. Because it's like we've been shown this love and you want to correctly represent that. And it's like letting your dad down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dang it, I fumbled that one. But you know that he will redeem you and he'll redeem that interaction in some way.
You mentioned that you stopped dating Christian guys because they were kind of representing Christ for you, right? Which is the same way how my father, he was a pastor. So he goes into my testimony a lot, along with my relationships too. He was a pastor, and yet he was a narcissistic manipulator, where it was a lot of, you know, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. And even as an 8-year-old kid, you know, you look at that and you go, I don't like that. And if he claims to be representing Jesus Christ, which he did, you know, I don't want anything to do with him. Then I don't want anything to do with that. No, absolutely not. Jesus is scary. I don't like him. Yeah. He doesn't care about me. Yeah, it's not good. Not good stuff. Was there anybody in your life that kept you from closing the door on Christ? I think Sarah reopened the door. Okay, yeah. And then the community helped show me that this is what we are supposed to have. Yeah, cool. And this is the community that God intended us to be in. And not just, because I thought Christians were judgmental and abusive and like just outright terrible people. And I was like, that's not a God that I want to follow. No, absolutely not. Like, what? Okay. And it also came from like all sins are ranked type thing. And it was like, okay, well, that's fine. Jesus died once for all sins and never said that this is better or worse. The one thing that he talks about, well, that Paul talks about, is sexual sin is sinning against yourself and someone else, or sinning against yourself, whereas everything else is sinning against someone else. Yeah. But even then, it's still just as bad. It's just as bad. Or at least it's still just as forgiven. Yeah. Super cool. I don't know. Do you think, when it comes to evangelizing, do you think everybody is called to it? In their own way. Because, I mean, we talk about, like, marketplace missions? Yeah, I didn't know if I'd said the word. What is that? Correct. Just like a store? So it's like you when you're out and about doing errands? Well, like, wherever you're called to work, right? So whether I become a psychologist or psychologist, or I go back into the restaurant stuff, or I become a pastor, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to be showing Christ. And so when those questions arise, I think we should be capable of sharing the gospel. But I don't think everyone is called to be a teacher. I mean, in James, it talks about those who are called to be teachers will be judged harsher. Yeah. Because if you do misrepresent the Lord, you're pushing a lot of people away. Yeah, you're right. And so I think in our own ways, all of us are called to evangelize, but not necessarily be teachers or leaders or pastors. Yeah. Do you think, when it comes to feeling the God's presence and stuff like that, is there anything psychological and or a lot of, like, a big argument that I hear against Christianity is that it's all within the mind. If you're studying the mind, How probable do you think that is?
So there was one thing that was talked about, and it was like healings. And it was like, do you think that believing that you are healed is the reason that you are healed? Because you're tricking your mind into thinking so, or is it actually the will of God and like the works of God? And it's, if you're able to switch your mind like that, that is still the work of God. So whether it's the placebo effect or not, it is still the work of God working, or the will of God working through you. And so I think a lot of things are psychological, right?
Yeah.
But it's also, there are some things we literally just can't explain because they are just so beyond our reach and so either so deeply rooted in psychology or just so spiritual.
Yeah. Like, you're probably the most qualified person I can ask this question to. What is the connection between the mind and the soul?
That's a great question. I don't really know. I think our mind fails when our soul doesn't. And our soul doesn't. I think our mind can fail a lot because there's so many human attributes to it, especially when you're a Christian, but our soul is completely God's.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense to myself? Is the question.
Well, I'm thinking.
I could try and dissect it. Between the flesh and the soul, do you think God unifies them, and or is there a way to separate them before death?
I think that I've had similar conversations and similar questions, that God made our minds uniquely, just as he made our souls uniquely. But even through that, it is still his. Like, he created us from dust. And so we owe him our minds, our souls, our flesh, even though we do deny him a lot of the times. And so I'm trying to think. I think that I've had this conversation with my old roommate, Leah, that in heaven, that there will be, she thinks that there's going to be some sort of little archery range that she can go to and her soul can like shoot every once in a while, because there's no way that God gave her this desire and this gift just to take it away for all of eternity. I never thought about it like that. I was like, we're just going to be like chilling in heaven.
Yeah.
But I think our mind and our soul can be one, but also I think our soul never fails in the way that God wants it. If our soul is truly the Lord's, it doesn't fail. Where our mind can.
I think Paul talks about how his soul desires to do good, something like that, but then his flesh is what holds him back. I can't quote it, but I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah, it's I do what I wish to not do. Because my soul longs for this and my flesh overtakes it.
So maybe like everybody's soul then is that consciousness, or not the conscious, well, consciousness, but the conscious, where it's like what is right and wrong. Yeah. That is, maybe the soul is what has written on it the morality, God's morality, if you will. That's cool. Or then the flesh is just like, nah. Oh, that's kind of a cool thought. Yeah. I've always wondered about it when it comes to people who have disabilities and or have their brain function inhibited. You're a mind kind of person. When it comes to let's say somebody who has autism, like severe autism, let's say, I don't know any terms for like specific types, but what?
Crazy.
The R word. Do you like the R word, retarded?
I think as long as you're not calling a retarded person retarded, then you're fine.
What if I'm calling somebody retarded but not to their face? Then I'm just a hypocrite.
If you're going to say something, might as well say it to their face.
Yeah, fair enough. What was I saying? Connection between the mind and soul.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, autistic people. So when it comes to their own connection to their soul, is it more so inhibited? You know, assuming that ours is not inhibited.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it is in some capacity.
So one thing that I think about a lot is, so my papa has really bad dementia and Alzheimer's. But no matter what, like, continuously talks about Jesus.
Yep.
Like,
Everybody with dementia and Alzheimer's do. Yeah.
They know who he is. Like, my brother had really bad hip problems, and he had to go to Seattle where they broke them and then re-put them back together. And so he was talking to my brother and my mom, who had just gotten back from this, while he's sitting in a wheelchair going, yeah, we're praying about this little boy who has hip problems.
Whoa.
Going to Seattle to get them fixed. And my nana from the other room, he goes, that's your grandson. And he would like he forgot that, but he remembered who Jesus was.
Whoa.
And he remembered the story of Jesus in the gospel. And so I think that it is totally his soul and like the Holy Spirit protecting that and like ensuring, like, he's locked in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Can I ask you about that? Like, I think, sorry to out you, Grandma, but I think she's gaining dementia, if that makes sense. She's been showing the early signs of it. And like, how does that affect the relationship
Between them and God?
between you and that person?
I think, okay, so it is definitely hard. I think it's harder for my mom
Yeah.
because he sees me as my mom. So consistently,
Oh.
he's just like, Heidi. And I'm like, I'm Abigail. And he's like, oh, right. And so because he remembers my mom as being this young, but he doesn't remember me being this old.
Oh, wild.
And so he just sees his daughter, whereas my mom's chilling there like, hello. And so, yeah.
So what goes on in somebody's mind when they're going through that?
I'm not necessarily sure. I'm working through a class right now, which I'm kind of speeding through, so I don't get a whole lot about it. But it's like a lot of short term. It starts with a lot of short term, and then it grows into longer term.
Yeah.
So like at first he started forgetting little things that my Nana had asked him throughout the day. And then it was like things that happened a week ago, and then it was a few years. And I mean, he once asked me about like one of my mom's old high school boyfriends. He was like, how's this guy? And I was like, I don't know who that is. I was very confused.
That is confusing.
And I was just like, huh? And my mom was like, Jason from high school? And I was like, huh? And it was very weird. But I was just like, okay. But I think overall, I think it kind of tests your love for that person.
Takes a lot of patience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot. And I mean, there was a point where he got really angry and like really aggressive with my Nana. And she was like, I told you through sickness and health, but if you do not respect me as your wife and as a follower of Jesus, I will put you in a home. And all of a sudden something switched.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think people who have dementia and or Alzheimer's, it fits perfectly, and or it solves all my problems? Is that an Amber Alert?
No, my phone's ringing. Go away. I don't know who's calling me. I don't care.
You can check it.
Oh, I don't care. It popped up on my watch. I didn't know the number, so.
Oh, do they know if they have it?
Yes.
Can you tell them, then they forget it in however long?
They know that they're losing parts of their mind, and it feels like they're losing parts of themselves, which is why like my papa got really aggressive, because he didn't understand what was happening, because he was like, this is who I've been, what's happening.
Yeah. That's scary. That's scary to think that you would be conscious of the fact that you're losing your own ability to be yourself. Man. Oh, I'm afraid now. That's scary. That's yeah. So how does that then, when did he begin to show signs?
3 or 4 years ago, I want to say. They used to come up here a lot. I think every 4 to 6 months. Because, I mean, we were literally by myself, and my dad worked all the time. My mom couldn't do things. So when I was little, like, I stepped up and took a lot of responsibility, but doesn't mean I was able to control everything.
Yeah. You were living by yourself. That's right.
Yeah.
How was that?
Basically, it was really rough. I mean, that's how I learned how to cook. I started cooking dinners when I was like 8.
That's insane.
The first time I made pancakes, I thought you baked them. So I made pancake batter and I put them on a cookie sheet and I stuck them in the oven. And I was like, Mom, they're not cooking. And she was like, did you flip them? And I was like, what do you mean flip them?
Yeah.
And she was like, what are you talking about? You have them on a pan. I'm like, yeah, I have a pan in the oven. And she's like, oh, yeah. And so it's just kind of trial and error. But.
So it was you with your Russian brothers? Mm-hmm. Just chilling where?
So we would be with my mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
cool.
it was like peak time where she was trying to figure out what was happening. And so like at that time we still had my aunt and my uncle around, so they would help a lot and we'd go over there a lot and we'd hang out with our cousins and blah blah blah. But it was weird because we had to grow up really fast. Which then turned into high school, which then I grew up really, or I thought I was grown up really fast. And then
Yeah. Dang. Do you feel like you had a childhood?
No, which I think is why I take the risks when I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I can. Also, we're called to have like childlike faith, and so I think that means acting like a child and not acting childish.
That means hopping onto your dirt bike and just going for it.
Why not?
So you're getting a dirt bike.
Why not?
When did you learn?
A week ago?
Yeah, nice. Heck yeah.
A week and a half ago? Yeah.
Did you crash at all?
No, but I lost control going up that the like hill. It's not a mountain, it was like a hill. The back tire kind of flew out, and I freaked out and I revved the throttle and it just went and I got it and like stopped and Cody ran up and he was like, you good? That was awesome. You're the coolest person ever. And I'm like,
oh gosh, that was a terrifying hill.
It was, yeah.
I kept looking at it and go, no, I'm not going to do that.
Insane. No. And then I was going to again and then I was like, what if I lose control? And then he went up it yesterday with me on the back and I was like, I can just walk up the hill. Just let me walk up the hill. I can just walk up the hill.
Yeah, going down it was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what was coming. I haven't been to Nunya yet. Oh, by the way, for all the viewers, it's called Nunya. Should we even shout it out? Maybe we shouldn't. I could bleep it.
Where it's at, just say it actually is a place.
Yeah, it's called Nunya Lake, and it's crazy, and we didn't believe our friend Asher.
Is it actually called Nunya?
It
Like, if
is.
they look it up, Nunya Lake.
No, it doesn't show up anywhere because it isn't considered a lake.
Okay, good. So I'm
Because
not,
it's
like,
an
outing a good
exploded
spot
mine.
where people go and...
Yeah.
We're going down the hill with Cody and Asher. Very different experiences.
Well, yeah, because Cody's like, all right, I'm going to be safe, and I know I have passengers, and Asher's like, meh.
Very different experiences for me.
Yeah.
Asher went way fast. On the way back, at least. I hopped onto the back of his, and the what do you call that? A cooler. The cooler opened up in the middle of us riding. That was... all of a sudden, I'm reaching, I'm lifting my hands out of his waist, and I'm just going to try and close the cooler, and he's yelling at me, like, close it! I'm like, I can't! And we're going 60 miles an hour down this gravel road. He was going 80?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Not with you on the back, but to get you. Yeah. Yeah, man's is crazy.
He's awesome.
What a guy.
What a guy. How expensive are bikes?
2,000 to 4,000.
Well, yeah, it depends. You can go 1,500 to 4,500.
That's so much.
I know.
Yeah, that's why I have.
Isn't Asher trying to get a new bike?
Yeah.
Can I just buy his old one for dirt cheap?
I used to ask him. I didn't ask him today.
Well, so he got the old one, which is pretty much the same as his, or he got the new one, which is pretty much the same as his old one to part it.
And then he said this
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
put all the parts he doesn't want on the other bike and sell that one.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool, actually. Well, I won't buy his old one then.
Hey, it's not in bad shape.
It's not, other than him throwing it down a mountain.
Didn't throw it.
He throwed it. He threw it.
I'm sure he's done it multiple times.
Yeah, but man's just like down like Moscow Mountain.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's crazy.
I mean, I felt bad just crashing with Cody's, but every single time we lifted it up, it was fine. I'm shocked that it wasn't broken. What?
The battery died.
Yeah, you
Yep.
almost got it in the lake. That was crazy.
I didn't. I was stopping it. I just couldn't get my foot on
How was it last week when you first tried?
I was fine.
Was that also at Nunya? Same spot? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nothing
was-
crazy happened?
Just like losing control. I dropped it. I felt kind of bad, and then I picked it up, and Cody was like, I didn't think you could pick that up. And I was like, haha, suck it.
Nice. Sick. All right, cool.
Yeah. We pushed the huge log that we were on, we pushed that across the lake.
Do you ever share with the children that you work with Jesus? Do you share about Jesus?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like they'd be very curious.
There are some kids that are like definitely like talk about it, and then I'll talk about it. There's some kids, like there was one day where they're like, why is it raining outside? I was like, because God wanted it to. And they're like, God isn't real. And I was like, that's a take.
That is a take.
And then I just left it at that, and they kept trying to like open that, and I was like, I'm not getting in a fight with a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, my parents say, and I'm like, yeah, but Jesus says.
I got in a fight in elementary school over whether Santa was real or not.
Crazy.
At lunch, I was telling this chick, he is not real. My parents told me, you know. And the dude, he had to come over and told me to be quiet.
Crazy.
Yeah. She was a full believer in Santa Claus. She thought she was claiming that she saw him. And I'm like, that's your dad in a suit. And the dude, he did not like that whatsoever.
That's so good. I remember finding out Santa wasn't real because we do this thing called the Great Pumpkin at Halloween.
Yeah.
Where we would like give up our candy in exchange for like something big, which was
Like a big gift.
yeah.
Cool.
And so we would do that, and it was the first year I got clothes, and I go, Mom, are you the Great Pumpkin? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, and she was like, how'd you find out? I was like, you got me clothes. And like now I'm like, clothes, so exciting. But as a fourth
same.
grader,
if I
I'm
get
like,
socks for Christmas, it's
yeah,
the best.
as
Christmas
a second or third grader, is like, this sucks.
It does.
I'm like, give me something better.
That's cool. The Great Pumpkin. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. So you believed in Santa Claus growing up?
Yeah, for until like second grade.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
Cool.
It was gone.
What elementary school did you go to?
Twin Lakes.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was that?
Good, I think. We always had lockdowns because there were moose outside.
Oh,
Or
awesome.
cougars. It was crazy.
Cougars.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a cougar?
Yeah.
In person, like living?
Yeah. Like we saw it outside our window, like in class.
What?
Yeah.
How big was it? Huge 200-pound cougar?
Well,
Big
to
cat?
like a 7-year-old, it's like massive.
Well,
I
to
don't-
anybody, it's
Yeah.
a big cat.
Yeah.
It's a lion outside of your school,
Yeah. I was
walking
like,
around.
yeah. But no, the moose were always the scary ones because they were like, imagine getting a call home saying your kid got stomped into the ground by a mama moose.
I feel like that'd be better. That's not the worst way to die.
Not the worst way, but it's not good.
It's not elegant, but I feel like would you rather have your kid die to a big cat or a moose?
Neither.
Oh, really? I think a moose would be pretty cool.
But
Maybe the
see,
cat would
I
be.
have the thought that I could like take on a big cat. Why? I don't know.
I used to think that I'd be able to stomp it to death, but there's no way that I'd ever get to even have that opportunity.
Way too fast.
Way too fast, way too strong. I could not do that. Simple as that.
Yeah.
My brothers, my grandma owned some land over in Western Washington, out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the boonies, small town, like 200 people, forested, just rainforest. Cougars are there. Big, huge
Nice.
cats, right? Who knows what they're eating, everything and anything that moves. So then my aunt and uncle, they live down the hill from her, and we call it the farm road. It's just a grass road that they mow along this like tree line. To get down to my aunt and uncle's house. And so they're leaving from my grandma's house, going down along the farm road, and it's dark. It's dark out. It's nighttime. And they see a big cat circling them. It's just walking on it's like far enough in the darkness, if that makes sense, from their flashlight. Then they go butt to butt, both with their phone flashlights out, and they watch it as they slowly shimmy down the hill as it like circles them around the light.
Crazy.
It doesn't get into the light, walks around the outside of it. So they're walking butt to butt, so then, it can't sneak up behind them, right? They got eyes everywhere.
Crazy.
Scary.
Yeah.
I've thankfully never had an experience with a big cat. One snowing camping trip that I went on, big backpacking trip. I actually thought I was going to die on that trip, but that's a whole other thing. There were cat prints in the snow. Big cat prints.
Yeah.
I don't think I figured that they were cat prints because there wasn't nails, because they could retract them, right? So we don't know if I don't know if it was a cougar. If it was a cougar, it would have been a smaller one. So maybe like what other cats do we have here? Do we have bobcats here?
Yeah. We have a lot of bobcats.
Probably was a bobcat then. Yeah, super cool. Just super cool to see the tracks. You know, it's nighttime. We're walking along this. We have snowshoes on, and we're just following these cat tracks. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever people who don't grow up around here, or at least people who would move over from another state, especially in the high school?
Yeah.
They don't know about moose, at least in the same way that we do.
Which is crazy.
They don't know that you don't walk up to them.
Yeah. No, it's never.
I had many friends.
They are massive.
They are huge and they will kill you. You don't go
Easily.
You don't get closer to the moose.
No.
When you see one, you go, okay, I'm leaving.
It's like, sick, bye.
You know Sterling Minkler? You remember him? There was a time we were running at Kiwanis Park, and practice got canceled because we ran into a moose. Hey, coach, by the way, there's a moose over there. But it was out on the road, so it was outside of the park. We were running from Ponderosa to Kiwanis, and Sterling Minkler, we were running together. As soon as we see the moose, he pulls out his phone and starts walking towards it to get a picture. And I'm telling him, like, bro, you're gonna die. Get away from the moose. And he kept getting closer, and I kept yelling at him, and I just gave up after a point and just ran on and said, all right, dude, if you're gonna die, I don't want to watch it happen.
No.
So, peace out. He survived, thankfully. But,
He's currently engaged, so yeah, he definitely survived.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Good for him.
He's Mormon.
Oh,
Wow.
blunder.
Flubbered.
See, he got back
Whatever that means.
He's engaged now.
Cool.
You know, my cousin got face to face with one on accident.
On accident. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Because we were like, the moose is coming, and he like ran back outside to grab something and turned around and was like looking at it. And we were like, what do we do? And my aunt's like running down, grabbing a gun. Like, I'm either gonna shoot this thing or I'm gonna miss and hit Garrett.
I mean, if it's attacking you, you might as well.
Yeah. And so it left Garrett alone, and Garrett ran into the house, and he was like, I almost died.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My friends Alex Peters and Blake Moore, they were out camping, and they had a moose walk through their campsite as they were trying to hide behind these super small trees, right? I don't know if it would stop a moose, but
Yeah.
Based off how they were telling it, that they just waited there as this huge, huge moose was just standing there in the middle of their campsite. Like, what do you
Crazy.
do? What do you do? You can't do anything.
Mm-mm.
I chased a moose down Moscow Mountain.
Why?
Well, it was in my trooper.
Okay. I thought you meant like ran at it.
They'll destroy your car.
Yeah, I have. Huh?
One of my family friends, I think of my mom, something like that, Facebook friend from way long ago. She was telling me how her friend was driving to work on a commute. A moose started crossing the road. They all stopped, and the moose just walked up to her car and laid on the hood and broke everything.
Yeah. Like, if you hit a moose, car's gonna be totaled, you might die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit a deer, pretty okay. Moose, you're just done. It
Well-
will flip over the car and crush everything.
Car's ruined just by it walking over and laying on it.
Yeah. They are massive animals. They weigh a ton. Literally. Not like a lot. I think they weigh like 2,000 pounds.
Male 840 to 1,500 pounds. Female 440 to 1,100 pounds.
I don't know.
That would have been a big
It's over
mistake if I hit
1,000
it.
pounds for
I know, but I'm still
big size.
sure that they're pretty close. I feel like they're closer to that than that.
If it was my bumper on.
Well, it says like in prime condition, it can weigh from 1,200 to 1,600.
Yeah.
This is just like probably averages.
I could beat one up.
And we have pretty big moose here.
Have you ever gone hunting?
Yes.
How was that?
We never got anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love my father, but he's not an outdoorsman. And so we would go and we would hike with everything on and sit there and see nothing. I really like the shooting aspect of hunting.
Yeah, shooting is fun.
Sitting there.
You're a fan of Second Amendment?
Yeah, buddy.
Do you have guns?
I do.
Oh, what do you have?
Well, I normally keep a 30-30 in the house. with a 45 in my nightstand, and then
Nice.
yeah, I don't have them right now because I took them back home to clean them, I think. And then a 30-06 question mark.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just have a AR-15 and a 9mm pistol.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But it's fun. It's fun to have them. My whole family is gun crazy. My brother Jeremiah, as soon as we hit 21,
Yeah.
I'm still 21. He probably has 7 guns now.
That's
Something like that. Yeah.
Moving it back up.
Go for it.
There we go. But yeah.
Sorry if it keeps sagging.
No, it's okay. I think it's slowly moving. It is slowly moving.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Here. I can even shift the weight.
My grandpa,
Mm-hmm.
he was I don't know, in the Navy maybe? I don't fucking know. But
Too sweaty.
after he croaked,
Yeah, I'm slipping on it.
I found this flare gun in a room at my grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is this? Because apparently she had gotten rid of every other gun that this guy owned, and it really irked me because he had a bunch. Except for that random flare gun that takes
Crazy.
12 gauge flares. So I didn't try it, but I did see if a 12 gauge round would fit into it, and it does. So I,
Oh.
could have a 12 gauge pistol if I wanted to lose my hand instantly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no. We have a safe full of them.
That's awesome.
And it's just, yeah.
That's what you need.
Exactly.
America, the land of more guns than people.
Yeah, buddy. Crazy. I used to go on
Wanna
like
go
shooting dates.
I would like to actually shoot one, but I've never had.
Yeah, skeet shooting. I got really good at throwing skeet.
You know, like clay pigeons?
Yeah, you have to throw the clay pigeons, and they have a little thing, and you just like toss them. I got really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at shooting them. We would shoot cans off of 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah, cool, fun
'Cause
stuff.
Why not?
Yeah. I've gone hunting once. The deer that I'm cooking up in my kitchen
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's from that one hunting trip.
Crazy.
We got like 7 deers, I think, in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, there was a huge group of us, all my family, right? A lot of, like, my immediate family, we're all city boys who don't know anything. And then my cousins, the other Lindleys, they are outdoorsmen, to say the least. So my cousin Levi, he was kind of orchestrating the whole thing. They live down in Twin Falls.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a canyon down there. And they go hunting so often that they know all the good spots.
Yeah.
And this place, okay, imagine, so we're on a river. We went canoeing on a river in the middle of a canyon. There's these islands in the middle of the river that are super forested, along with the banks of the river are forested and green, luscious.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of everything else is desert, but
Cool.
so all the deer like to hang out in there because there's food and there's shelter,
Yeah.
right? There's places to hide. So we just went down there early in the morning when the sun was coming up, canoeing quietly with shotguns.
that's awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
So there was 3 canoes, I think. 1 with 3 people, 2 with 2 people each. Pretty much everybody had a deer tag ready to go, and we just canoed all the way up and down the river, watching for deer to be eating just on the side, just on the riverbank.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just roll up quietly in our canoe, and they look at you all confused because they don't know what you are, and you just take aim and fire.
Yeah.
And the little islands in the middle, it was pretty fun. So we had a few that way. Then we had a few where the people who already got their deers, they would get on one side of the island. Then we'd set up the other guys with the canoes on the far side of the island. And they would start pushing through all the brush and moving the deer, corralling them towards the people with the guns. That was fun.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, that was cool. 10 out of 10 would do that again. It was surprisingly easy. I was expecting more of a hiking 10 miles into nowhere just to see nothing. But that was not at all what it was. It
That's
was
so
like,
nice.
let's get into a canoe. In 5 minutes, there's going to be a deer. It was pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah, super awesome. Super fun. Yeah.
You were at just about 2 hours, so
Oh, really?
Hour 49.
yeah.
Crazy.
You want to call it?
Sure.
All right. How do you pronounce your last name?
Alameda.
Alameda. This is Abby Alameda. She's pretty rad. Thank you for coming on. This is a
Yeah.
huge favor.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any last words?
I don't think so. Yeah,
'Kay.
buddy.
Yeah, buddy, that's right. Do you have anything to shout out or no?
Cody Russell. Bars,
Hey!
buddy.
All right, cool. Cut! Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. If you want to support us, you can find us on Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you join the Patreon, you'll get each episode a week early, along with some maybe blooper reels, all sorts of fun stuff that we might end up cutting out of the regular episode.
Oh, yeah.
You'll also be supporting the team, me, Dylan, and John behind the camera. It's a little skeleton crew we got going.
Links in the down under.
In the land down under.
See, that's funny because that's Australia. Yeah, you guys can find us on any of the big podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, I guess. If that was a podcast platform, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.
God bless you all.
It was good.
That was good.
I like the little shitter about the YouTube thing.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
funny.
that was good. Ow, dude. Ow.